please meet the amazing Lily. She's been instrumental and supportive of our account since we started Monitor Base, which, believe it or not, was last August. And I'm going to let her just kind of dive in. I will tell you before Lily jumps in that the information that's in Monitor Base, so the data that Monitor Base has, is everything that poured over from Finance of America's database, as well as on a monthly or bi-weekly, so twice a month, I upload all the funded loans into Monitor Base. And so Lily's going to take some time and kind of walk through the system and give, I guess, a real quick tutorial on how to use it, what to do with email notifications. And let's just make sure that we make this collaborative. If you have questions as we're going through it, please shout it out, raise your hand, and we'll do our best to respond in a timely manner. So why don't you take it away, Lily?
Yes, okay, thank you for that introduction, Paul. As you mentioned, I'm Lily. I'm always here to answer any questions that you have about your account. I can put my email and my phone number in the chat. But let's dive in. This recording or this training is recorded, just so you know. So we're going to have this as a resource after the fact if you want to reference it. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. If at any point you do have questions, I am going to be minimizing my GoToMeeting tab. So don't put questions in the chat just because I might not be seeing them. Just go ahead and shout them out and unmute yourself. So let me share my screen and then let me know if you all are able to see it. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. So just again to give you a refresher on Monitor Base, I don't know, who of you have really been engaging with this system versus who is a little bit more new. But the goal behind Monitor Base, it was created by two brothers who were loan originators, and they saw that there was kind of a gap in marketing strategy, where you have this gold mine of past funded clients. They're amazing, clients for your future loans and refinances. And they trust you, they worked with you before. And so the problem is really just knowing when they're back in the market. There's like about 1.5 to 2% of your past client database is going to be back in the market for a refinance or new home purchase at any given month. The other 98%, it's wonderful to market to them, but they actually start to kind of ignore your marketing if you're constantly reaching out to them when they're not in the market. So Monitor Base solves these problems by letting you know when one of your past clients has had their credit pulled for a mortgage, indicating obviously that they're back in the market, they're applying with a competitor, and so we'll deliver those notifications to you. And this also allows you to focus your marketing strategies on those people with the confidence that they are back in the market, as well as kind of reduce any of that nag that's a little bit unnecessary on your past clients that aren't in the market. So with that, we also offer, in addition to the alert that lets you know that they've applied for a mortgage, we have alerts that will let you know if they would be a good candidate for a refinance. That includes things like rate watch alerts, etc. So we'll go into the details of how it works, what you can expect to see, and how this whole process works from front to back. And so I've talked about funded loans, and I know that Paul mentioned that he uploads your past funded loans on a bi-weekly to monthly basis. But you can actually upload anybody into the system. It doesn't have to be a past funded client. It could be your Facebook leads or leads you've purchased. It could be a realtor's database if you want to partner with those realtors to monitor their past clients. Our system just functions based on the names and addresses that are uploaded. We are partnered with Experian, and they use the name and address to find that person and deliver the credit information about that individual. It doesn't even have to be a current address that they're living at. It just has to be an address that was reported at some point on the person's credit. So with that kind of brief, uh, I guess, introduction to the system, let's talk about what happens when you receive an alert. So the first thing that's going to happen, and you've probably already experienced this at one point, is that you will receive an email notification from MonitorBase. So I'm going to show you a screenshot of what this email looks like. So it's saying, it comes from support@monitorbase.com, and it will say, hey, 2 of your contacts in MonitorBase applied for a mortgage loan with a competitor yesterday, and it urges you to reach out and call them, which is really what you should be doing for every alert that you receive, is reaching out and calling and getting in contact whenever you can with any of these alerts. So it will tell you the alert type, and this comes into play. Inquiry alerts are those alerts when somebody has their credit pulled for a mortgage. That's what we call them. And then predictive alerts would cover things like the rate watch alerts, or if somebody's a good candidate for a refinance. So it will tell you the alert type and then the contact's name, as well as any contact information that you have uploaded into MonitorBase.
Real quick, Lily, on the predictive, is it based off of, can you just tell our team what it's based off of? Because those alerts say whether it's an inquiry or predictive, and it can provide them with a little bit of detail as to how they would communicate with their past client.
Right. So you mean like what a predictive alert is a little bit more in detail?
Yeah, or why are we predicting that they'd be, a candidate for a refinance transaction?
Okay, yeah. So all of our credit data, or data for our alerts, comes from their credit data from Experian. So, and the difference, I guess, between an inquiry and predictive alert is that an inquiry alert, there's only one reason why you're ever receiving that alert, and it is specifically that they have applied for a mortgage with a competitor. So that's really the only reason why you're ever receiving an inquiry alert. But predictive alerts are a little bit more flavorful. There's several reasons why you could receive a predictive alert on a client, and all of them are going to be really helpful, but they do have different reasons. Again, it is all based on their credit information, but things like you might get an alert that says, hey, John Smith would probably be a good candidate for a term reduction because he's been paying down extra principal on his mortgage recently. So you might reach out to him and say, hey, maybe it was a guy that you funded his loan not too long ago. And so you say, hey, it looks like we could refinance from maybe a 30-year loan to a 15-year loan. And there's a good chance that he's interested because of that. Or again, those like rate watch alerts. So all of that is coming from the data that we get from Experian, and the predictive alerts are using an algorithm to look at like what are the pieces of information that would indicate that somebody is likely to be in the market for a new home purchase or a refinance. So we're just analyzing that data, and when somebody is showing those signs, then we're alerting you beforehand. I don't know if that helps clarify.
What triggers a rate watch alert?
That's a really good question, and I personally don't know all of the specifics because it is very much having to do with the algorithm. So that might be a question that I can take note of and get the answer back to Paul. Would that work?
Sure.
Okay. I'm just writing it down so I don't forget. Okay. Any other questions on predictive before we move on?
No, thank you for that.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, so you'll receive this email, and keep in mind that you're only going to receive alerts for people that we're pre-screening their credit. So we're only delivering alerts on people that their credit criteria meets your company's credit minimums. So you don't even have to log into MonitorBase when you get this email to call them, because there is additional credit information when you log in and view the alert. But if you're in a rush, you have the confidence that this person already meets the minimum criteria. Obviously, that doesn't determine whether or not their income or other factors would actually allow them to be for the loan to be approved, but from a credit standpoint, they're looking good. So from here, you could either just call them or email them, or you can log into Monitor Base for additional information. So let me show you what that looks like inside of Monitor Base. Okay, so when you log in, this is your home dashboard that you will see every single time you log in. And what you'll want to pay the most attention to is this top bar that shows you your recent alerts. So if you got that email that says you got a couple inquiry alerts today, you would just click on the tab that says today, or if you wanted to see your alerts for the past 7 days, click on the according box. And here I'm going to look at William Johnson's inquiry alert. So I click on it. And then this opens up a little bit more information about William Johnson. So of course we have the name and address that that Paul has uploaded for you, and any contact information as well. And then we also get things like the Experian mortgage FICO from the day that their credit was pulled. Keep in mind that you are receiving the alert the day after the credit was pulled. So it's not completely real time. They just come in batches every single day. And then you get information about their mortgage, like current balance, original balance, monthly payment, their estimated LTV, and then also revolving and installment debt aggregates as well. So from this, you're going to get a much better idea about where they stand from based on their credit before you reach out to them. So this can be really helpful to log in and view before you go ahead and give them that call.
Lily, do you clear the do not call list, or is that something we need to do?
That is something that you will need to do. So if your company has a subscription with the do not call list, we can get that subscription and kind of add it to there, but it's not something that happens automatically. Does that make sense?
Do we both?
No, not yet.
How do we get our credentials from Monitor Base? This is the first time I'm understanding it.
What a great question.
That is a great question. Yeah, actually, since you asked that right now, I'll just mention that I went through earlier and found a list of people that either haven't logged in recently or haven't logged in at all. And so I'll be sending out some activation emails as well as password reset emails to any of those people on that list so that you can get your credentials back into your account. But if you are concerned that maybe you're not on, because obviously I don't want to be like calling everybody out and saying this person hasn't logged in the past couple of months. So if you're concerned that you're not on that list and you want to just make sure that you do receive that, you can put your first and last name into the chat inside of the GoToMeeting, and I will go and make sure that I send you either a password reset email if you've already activated your account, or if you haven't activated, I'll send you an activation email. Does that work?
Okay. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, Lily.
Yeah.
What is it? I saw something that said fake contact a minute ago on the previous screen. What is that?
That is because we are in my demo account
Okay.
with fake information. So yeah, that's why it says William Johnson at Fake Street.
Okay.
So, yeah, your account won't have fake information, I promise.
Okay.
A very valid question. Okay, so keep in mind, again, there's a reason why you get to view this credit information. Obviously, I mean, I'm not a loan originator, so I wouldn't just be able to go and look up anybody's credit information just for fun. So the reason why you're able to is because you're able to make an offer to these borrowers for a loan or a refinance. So because of that, the FCRA requires that if you're receiving this credit information, that you make a firm offer to the client. Monitor Base takes care of this on your behalf, but it is really important to know that for every single alert that you're going to receive, there is an email and or a physical letter that is sent to your borrower on your behalf. Let me show you what this looks like. Oh yeah, here we go. Okay, so let me try and zoom in a little bit because I know the screen is probably pretty small. All right. So this is a sample of the letter that would be going out to your borrower. It would say something similar to, "Hi, Willie, I've recently sent you a letter in the mail. If you've already received it, no problem. Here's a digital copy for your review. As a courtesy to you, we have pre-screened your credit eligibility for this program prior to reaching out to you. This saves you and me both the headache of discussing home loan products before we have any idea if you'll qualify." And then it just really urges them to reach out to you and get more information about the offer. So it has your name, your NMLS number on it. It has a number that they can call to reach you. By the way, that the number that appears on the letters and emails is a monitor-based number that we use to track any calls and notify you if you miss a call. So it won't be your actual number that you see. So if you ever see that, don't be alarmed if it's not your number, but it does forward to either your branch or your direct line, or you can have it forward to your cell phone number as well. So from here, they can click to view the full offer. And here is like a sample of what the full offer looks like. It has the terms and conditions of the offer itself. Kind of just lets them know that this isn't a guarantee that they're going to get a loan with you. It's just dependent on other factors, but just letting them know that from a credit standpoint, they're looking good. And then it also has a place where they can click, "I'm interested, send me more." And this will prompt them to update their contact information, like their email and phone number. And if they update that information, it will also update their contact inside of MonitorBase. So if they have opened up the email, then we do not execute the physical letter because they've already opened up the email and they've essentially received the offer. But if they don't open up the email, then we will also send them a physical letter in the mail. And that would look something like this. Obviously, it has Pinnacle's logo up here. And it has a little handwritten portion, which is kind of fun. Again, it has your name, your NMLS number, that phone number that they can call you to reach you at. And it has really similar wording to the email. So it says, "Based on information from your credit report, we have pre-qualified you for a home loan with Pinnacle Home Loans." And then it urges them to reach out and talk to you about it. So just even if you did not call any of your alerts, didn't engage with the system at all, you will probably get calls every once in a while from these letters and emails. They generally produce about a 5% inbound response rate. And if you do have somebody calling you from these and you missed the call or the call failed, we will send you an email notification as well. Okay, so keep in mind that that is happening for every single alert, including predictive and inquiry alerts. Now, the last thing you should do when you receive when you receive an alert, you get the email notification. You know that that email has been sent, as well as possibly the letter if they haven't opened the email. So you should just make it your main priority to email, text, or call that person. And as you mentioned, if they are available to be called. And we have a script that we would recommend using, because you don't want to be too creepy. You don't want to call them and say, "Hey, I saw that you applied for a mortgage yesterday. Tell me about that." So I'll probably be a little bit concerned. I'll be like, "How did you know that?" That's a little weird. So we have this script that you can use. And I will send this to Paul. He can distribute it out in a PDF file, but it's also something that you can access on our website. If you click on the Academy tab on the left, it will send you to our knowledge base where we have tons of articles. If you're ever confused or have any questions, it's like our little Google for MonitorBase. But if you type in the word script, you can pull up this script, these script examples for following up to your alerts. And for an inquiry alert, I would say something like, "Hi, Emily, it's Lily with Pinnacle. We worked together on a loan about 2 years ago. I'm reaching out because at Pinnacle, I have a system that periodically pre-qualifies my clients, and your name came up as somebody who might be in the market. I've emailed you a pre-qualification letter, and I wanted to see if that's something I could help you with." So this script just tends to work well because you're reminding them of that personal relationship you have with them. you're also kind of explaining why they are receiving that offer. And the offer is completely valid on its own, but having that personal touch where you're also mentioning the offer can kind of pique their interest and kind of remind them of that offer and almost validate it a little bit more, where they're paying a little bit more attention. So this is really what we'd recommend for following up to all those alerts. And if you're engaging with that, if you're following up with all of those alerts, then you're going to see really great success within the system. So that's really what you should be paying attention to. Does anybody have any questions about the alerts or how to respond to them?
Can I ask a quick question going back just a second?
Okay.
You mentioned the phone number will be a monitor-based phone number, but are you saying that when my phone rings, I'll see a monitor-based number, or will I see my client's phone number?
That's a great question. You will see your client's number, but the client is dialing the monitor-based number. So that forwarding happens automatically. To your experience as well as the client's experience, it doesn't change anything. Like they're directly calling. It feels like they're directly calling you. It feels like you're getting a call directly from them. But it's just the only purpose for that number is that we're keeping a log of any of those calls, just kind of as a courtesy to you as the loan originator, so that you can have an organized list. So let me show you where you can find that inside of your account. On the left-hand tab, you'll see this icon with the phone. And if you click on that and look at the call log, you will see a full list of anybody that has ever called you from your letters or emails. So when this loads, I'll be able to show you. Okay, so it will show you the caller ID of the person that called you, the number that called you, and then in the to section, it will show the number that that person dialed. So just keep in mind that's the monitor-based number, and then the number that that call forwarded to, which will obviously be either your branch or your direct line, the date that they called you, how long the call lasted, and then if you ever need to, for any reason, you can block a number. So sometimes you might get a spam call, just such is the nature of, our world. So you can block those if you ever get them. Does that help answer your question?
Yes, thanks very much.
Okay. Yeah, of course.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah. No, yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay, so I got distracted. There was a cat on the counter back there. Getting into things. So when you started showing the letter that you were sending out, you're sending that out to the people who have had an inquiry?
Correct. They apply for a mortgage, and they also meet your company's minimum credit criteria.
And the pre-qualification that you've put together is based on, how are you coming up with a loan amount that do you know the loan amount that they've applied for somewhere else?
So there is not a loan amount. Let's go look at the details of the offer. I don't believe that there's like a specific loan amount, or if it is, it's really vague or small.
So
let's go look.
Qualified is really just based on knowing that they're in good standing with their current mortgage. And are these people that are looking to refi, or are these anybody we put in there, even purchase leads?
Yeah, so
they're not necessarily leads. The only information that Monitor Base has are loans that we've funded. Okay. So Pinnacle's stance is they're your clients and they should remain your clients. And we're also trying to avoid early payoffs. So at the end of twice a week, I upload all loans that have funded in your name. And so the offer of credit is being extended based on, the Monitor Base is, you're a partner with Experian, correct, Lily?
Correct.
So the information that gets carried over to Monitor Base, so Monitor Base takes my data that I provide based on LQB, and they send over that information, and there's a relationship with Experian and Monitor Base. And so the information that Monitor Base gets and triggers to us is based off of, as Lily was saying, I think our criteria is a minimum FICO of like 630. And so we were making an assumption based on the credit offer that we can do a refinance transaction or a purchase transaction just as much as the other mortgage company that they've done an inquiry with based on the characteristics that we set up with Monitor Base. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. I have one more question.
Yeah.
So I've noticed that some of the alerts that I'm getting seem to be the inquiries that I just did for people, like refis I'm starting.
And it's really hard for us to, and Chris Stewart said the same thing to me, and ensure that we get everyone. I just do a mass dump of every loan that funds. So there are multiple times you'll get, and that's great. That means that you're touching on your clients, your database. So kudos to you, thank you. But you will get alerts on your past clients. I really don't, there's really kind of no way around that.
On the inquiries that I did.
Yeah, I can touch on that a little bit more. And just going back to your other question, it does say that the loan amount is at least, like, the minimum would be $50,000, but it also is like pretty compliance heavy in these terms and conditions that nothing is promised as far as, approving the loan, because it does depend on other factors, but it's just saying at a minimum that it's like a good way to explain it would be when you get a credit card offer in the mail.
No, I get.
Yeah, so they would still have to go through the approval process, but it does say that the minimum or the amount that they've been qualified for is about $50,000. To answer your question about the alerts on your own credit pulls. So Experian is actually not allowed to tell anybody which company has pulled the client's credit. And the reason for that is just kind of to keep things fair so that nobody could say, okay, give me the information for everybody that has had their credit pulled at Pinnacle, and then they would be attacking your company. So they can't tell us that information. And the only way that we would know is if your company tells us. So we don't have anything automatically that tells us right now. So what you would do, which is actually a really helpful thing to touch on here, so I'm glad you mentioned it. When you receive that alert, obviously, if you pulled that person's credit yesterday and then you're getting the alert today and it's saying the inquiry date was the same date that you pulled their credit, then you know that you were the one that pulled their credit. So what you can do is there's a little note section on all of the alerts, and you'll just click where it says select status. You'll scroll down to the bottom where it says I pulled this credit myself, and then you can add that note, and that will stop the letter from being sent out. If the email has already been sent out, you can just explain to your client that you have a system that periodically will pre-qualify them, and it's just an automated email, because I know that can be a little bit awkward sometimes. If you do it early enough in the morning, then sometimes the email won't be sent out. But anyway, does that help answer your question?
Yeah. Yeah.
Sounds good. Okay, any other questions on the alerts or the system in general?
Will you just show us one more time how to get to that email section? To
the alerts?
Yes, to give the feedback that you pulled the credit yourself.
Yes. Also, I have a link to it in our academy that kind of has instructions on how to do that. So I could send it to Paul, and then he can send it to all of you. But yeah, you would just, again, go and open up the alert. You just click on the name to the alert. And then it's going to be under the New Note tab. You'll then click on the status and scroll down to the bottom. I pulled this credit myself, and then add the note.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. One more thing that I wanted to mention is if you want to go and change the number that your calls are forwarded to, you can click on your profile icon, click on the letter icon. This is going to show you what settings your letters are set to. Basically what name and NMLS number is going out on the letters. And then if you go down, you can change your forwarding number. So if they're currently being forwarded to your office phone, but you'd rather have them go to your cell phone, you can change that forwarding number. And then if this area is blank for you, it just means that they're going to your branch phone number currently. So you can also set it up to use your own marketing number, and you'll have to purchase a number. It won't cost you anything. And then put in your forwarding number. Does that make sense?
Purchasing it, but it doesn't cost you anything?
Yeah, it will ask you to quote unquote purchase it, but monitor base, like we pay for all of the seats that you like. Every account that you have, we're gonna allow you to buy a number basically for free. It won't be of any cost to you. I don't know if that makes any sense.
And what's the advantage of having a number there instead of just putting our cell phone number in?
So you'll have to put in your cell phone number no matter what.
Right.
And if you don't have a marketing number that's your own, it just means it's using your branch's marketing number that's forwarding to your branch phone number. So if you want to have it go to your cell phone number, you have to set up the marketing number so that we can keep track of the calls that come through that cell phone number.
So the marketing number is the cell phone number?
The marketing number is the monitor base number that appears on the letters and emails, and it's the number that we use to track any of those calls so that we can let you know.
Pinnacle just has its own marketing number.
Yeah, each of the branches at Pinnacle has its own marketing number. So if you want to use your own, like receive those calls on your cell phone, then you have to create your own marketing number to go along with it so that it separates from the branch. Does that make sense?
Not really. Why can't I? I won't say why can't I, but just can you tell me? I can't just have it the marketing number, the branch's one, and the forwarding number my cell.
Yeah.
So the marketing number is never going to be the same number as the branch phone number. As I mentioned on like the email offer or the letter. Let's see if I can pull this up again. Like on the letter that your client receives, it has a number that's printed. And this number is never going to print as the branch or your cell phone number. It's always going to be one of our marketing numbers. So the default on anybody's account that is created is to have it set to go to the, like all the calls, all of your letters will be printed with the branch's marketing number that forwards to the branch's phone number. And if you want to receive those calls on your cell phone, then the reason why you have to set up a marketing number, and by the way, you can't input like your own number. I wish that I didn't already have one here because I would show you how to get one, but you have to set it up that way that we can track any of the calls coming through.
Okay.
I think what the team is asking is they're wanting the phone number. A lot of our teams, well, especially right now, we're shelter in place, so everybody's working from home. So I think they're looking for a way to ensure that the phone numbers come to their cell phone.
Okay, yeah, so what you can do, I can send this link to Paul as well. Let's see, where's my marketing number? Let me try and show you. There's an article that shows you how to set up your marketing number, because if you don't have it set up, then you will have to set it up. And all it will ask you to do, you'll have to click this box, and then you'll have to click here. It will ask you to select a marketing number and put in your area code, and then you'll just choose from one of the numbers. And then to make sure that it forwards to your cell phone, all you'll have to do is type in your forwarding number or your cell phone number into the forwarding number box. So once I find these instructions, I can send them over to Paul, and then he can send them out to all of you so that you all can update that marketing number.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a tracking mechanism and not a number they call to talk to a loan officer.
So they will call it. It does track the call. That's the reason why we have it set up, but it forwards automatically. So as soon as anybody calls that number, it will ring to your phone. It doesn't ring to anybody else's phone. So they will be able to contact and talk to a loan officer, but it also serves the purpose of tracking those calls. Let's see, personalize. Okay. There we go. I found the article, so I can show you what it looks like. Okay, so likely your outbound mail information doesn't have a marketing number, so you'll just need to click Get Marketing Number, and then it will ask you to put in your area code and select one of the numbers from the drop-down. And then after that, you'll just put in your cell phone number into the forwarding number, and that will ensure that anybody that calls you from those letters and emails will be able, it will ring your cell phone.
Okay. Thank you.
Sorry, I know it's a little bit complicated because the marketing number is like a little bit complicated, but mainly it's just to make sure that you have a detailed list of anybody that's ever called you so that you can keep track of it. And that's really the only reason why we have it. Okay, looking over all my notes, I think that we touched on everything. You are welcome to upload additional data if you want to. So if you have leads that you've purchased or other clients that you haven't funded loans with, but that you have names and addresses for, we can upload them into the system. If you have a realtor partner that you're working with and you would like to upload their contacts to monitor, you can do that as well. So you can either let me know or let Paul know if you want to upload additional data, and we will assist with that. Last thing before we end the call, unless anybody has other questions, is as I mentioned, we're going to be sending out some password reset emails and activation emails to anybody that either hasn't ever logged in or hasn't logged in recently. Last minute call, if you haven't already put in your first and last name into the chat to make sure that you receive one of those emails, just go ahead and put it into the chat so I can make sure to send you one of those emails so you can get your login credentials. Okay, I think that covers it for my end. Paul, is there anything that we need to cover from your end or any questions that anybody has?
No, I think I'm good. Thank you very much.
Okay, wonderful. Yeah, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. And you can always reach me at lily@monitorbase.com, LILLY, or you can just email our support@monitorbase.com if you ever need help.
Thank you, Lily. If you could send me the link to the recording, that'd be great.
Yes, I will send the link to the recording as well as some helpful links that I think would be, in general, useful to anybody. So, yeah, I will get those over to you, Paul.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Paul. Bye.